The footsteps were creaking on the floor above me. After what felt like minutes, silence. That's when I heard someone pull up in the driveway. I looked out the front window to see that Ranger Mitchell had arrived finally. I wasn't sure what took so long since it wasn't too big of a campsite. He opened the front door with his own keys, supposedly the master key to all the cabins, and walked in with his hand on his holstered gun. "Someone's upstairs?" he asked. "Yeah, I heard someone walking around. I saw them through the window outside," I replied. The ranger slowly walked up the stairs. I followed behind him. He opened his holster and got a good grip on his revolver before he slowly opened the door of the bedroom. He walked in, and after about a minute, he walked back out and he holstered back his revolver. "There's nobody in there. Must have had some squirrels in the attic that scurried on out," he said. "Phew, thought I was in some trouble there. Thanks for stopping by," I said to him. "Oh, no need to thank me, it's what I do. Before I go, you got any more questions or concerns?" he asked me with a sarcastic smirk. "It's just the people staying in the cabin next to me. I saw them staring at me through their window." After I said this, Ranger Mitchell looked out the kitchen window where the other cabin could be seen, and then he looked back at me. "That cabin? 409? he said while pointing at it. I nodded my head. "Nobody is staying in that cabin." A feeling of fear and confusion hit me when he said this. "But didn't you tell me over the phone that they witnessed someone get mauled by a bear years ago?" I said. Then Ranger Mitchell took a few steps closer to me, and a look of cold rage filled his face. "Nobody is in that cabin. Understood?" I nodded my head, even though I didn't understand at all. At that point, I just wanted him to leave. He then turned around and left without saying anything. I knew he was hiding something. I figured that he possibly could have told me some history about that cabin that he wasn't supposed to tell me. Maybe there really is nobody in that cabin, and I just saw something. Then I realized something. I'm on vacation. Why am I worrying about ghost people and a creep park ranger? I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to enjoy my time here, and I don't care if the whole campsite is haunted, I thought. I went back upstairs to grab my MP3 and graphic novel, and took them back inside. It was actually getting pretty late, and I was getting hungry. I decided that I would watch a movie and eat something, and then go to bed after. I went down into that small bedroom and moved the TV into the living room, in front of the couch, and plugged it in. I noticed there was a drawer on the shelf the TV was on. I opened it to see what was inside. There were a bunch of VHS tapes inside. Maybe these are some extra movies that the campsite provides for the guests, I thought. I took one of them out. There was a piece of tape on the side of it, and "Stray Man" was written on it in black marker. I wondered what this was. I inserted the tape into the VHS player. There was a brief moment of pure static in the TV before the static faded into some low-quality stock footage of a young girl that looked to be around 9 or 10, that seemed to be wandering around the outside of her house. She began to notice something around the side of her house that was off camera. No audio could be heard in the tape, but you could clearly see that the girl in the tape began to scream. She turned around and tried to run away before what happened next made me shed tears. She was tackled by what looked to be a bald, anorexic homeless man that had these cat-like ears sewn to the top of his head. He pounced onto her and began to bite into her neck. The girl stopped moving. The camera then zoomed in as this psycho was consuming that poor child. When the camera stopped zooming, the man then stopped before he slowly looked up and stared into the camera with his horrid face. The man then grew a large, demonic smile. That's when the tape cut out and went back to static. I couldn't think. I didn't understand. Why would something like that be in a rental cabin? I ejected the tape and put it back into the drawer. I pulled out 2 more tapes. One of them had Corey written on the side of it. The other one had the word Malice written on the side of it. I decided to watch the Corey tape first. I put the malice tape and the stray man tape back in the TV drawer. I cautiously inserted the Corey tape into the VHS player. Another brief moment of static filled the screen before it cut to this shot of a man strapped to a table, struggling to escape. The only thing that could be heard was this off-key, kid-friendly jingle that played repetitively. Something could be seen rising up from behind the table. It was a puppet. But not one like Elmo or Kermit the Frog. It was one of those creepy ones, similar to the one seen in the Saw movies. The puppet looked into the camera as it held up a knife. The puppet then looked at the man on the table. The man started shaking his head rapidly. The puppet raised the knife in the air. Then within a second I ejected the tape. I wasn't watching that. I was going to put the tape back into the drawer, but I noticed something different about it. I could have sworn that it said Corey on the side of it, but when I took it out, it said, "Behind you." A chill went down my spine. I slowly turned around, but nothing was there. I then looked back to see that the TV was on again, and taking up the whole screen was the face of that puppet. I screamed and then jumped back. "What the fuck?" I said to myself. The TV then turned off. I stood up and began pacing around the living room. My first thought was to call Ranger Mitchell, but I didn't really want to deal with that creep at the moment. What if I packed up and left? Yeah, I'll just tell my parents that I got homesick. I was eager to go through with that thought, but before I could do anything, I saw something in the other room that I didn't see before. It was a deer trophy. The head of an 8-pointed buck mounted on the wall above the dining room table. I didn't know how I couldn't have noticed that before. I guess I didn't. I was too stressed out to do anything at all though, and I was actually very tired. I decided to sit back down on the sofa and rest for a minute, but I ended up falling asleep. I woke up to the sound of a low-pitched growl. I sat up on the sofa and looked around the dark cabin. I then felt my heart stop beating as I saw in the dining room that the deer trophy. It was facing me. I wiped my eyes and then looked back at it to see that it was now facing me with its head tilted. Before I could panic, the trophy opened its mouth. It made this ear-piercing, human-sounding scream. Then I woke up again, but in the upstairs bedroom in broad daylight. I grabbed my phone off of the dresser to see that it was already 10 a.m. the next day. I got up feeling some kind of relief. I went downstairs and saw that the TV was still in that other bedroom, and that there was no deer trophy in the dining room. Maybe it was all a dream, but the VHS tapes and the screaming deer head. Why would I dream something like that? And how did it feel so real? I was confused, but relieved at the same time, knowing that none of it even happened. Or did it?